Good morning and welcome to Growing and Eating Plants in Yoga Pants at my yoga barn. My name is Rebecca Birdwell and we are here on a beautiful day to plant a couple, or actually a few, of these Sun Gold cherry tomatoes. I actually grew these by seed, so maybe we'll do another video on growing from seed, but let's talk about getting these in the ground because it is time. This Sun Gold tomato, the trick with tomatoes is that you're going to want to plant them 80% into the earth. So I happen to measure this for all my kids out there, and kids, this is about 13 inches. So I'm going to plant about 80% down, so that's going to be to about here, because remember 50% is about here. So we want to plant, and this is all an estimate, guys. Don't overthink it, just get it done. So 80% I'm gonna say is about right here. So in order to do that, I'm gonna have to take all the leaves off the bottom here. I'm just gonna snip them off with my fingers. Here, here, and here. Now don't get scared. It makes your tomato look kind of bare, but all of those spots will grow roots once we get them in the ground. Okay, so let's come down to the earth. So my husband actually put this trellis up for me the other day, and this is where our tomatoes are going to grow and attach to. These cherry tomatoes, I've noticed, get pretty big and they produce a lot. And these are Sun Gold, so they're orange, so it's gonna be really beautiful. So what my thought process was to plant on this side and this side. And then honestly, if any critters come that want to eat my food, we will have plenty, and so food for all. Now, how we're going to take this out of the pot. First of all, let me talk about my hole. So I dug my hole before you guys got here, so it's pretty deep because you're going to want to set your plant in while you're digging to make sure that you're going to go deep enough after you've taken off all of those extra stems. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I also want to talk about the soil. You never want to dig in wet soil. So this is moist soil because I really want to get these in the ground. I probably would have waited, but I see the consistency of the soil. It's still crumbly. So I think we're going to be okay. If it would have been much wetter than this, I would not have done this today. Okay, so the way you take this out of the pot is you place your fingers here to protect the stem. We're going to want to turn it over and squeeze it a little bit, and it's going to fall out. If you have roots that are tangled up, you're going to want to pull those apart. I'm just going to pull these apart just a teeny bit because I have such a small root ball here. I don't want this part to ever break up. You want to keep this nice and compact. So I'm going to set this down in the earth. And if you have any fertilizer at this point, of course organic and natural, this might be where you want to throw some in. I've actually put compost and worked it into the soil here, so I'm going to use that as my fertilizer for now. And I'm probably going to I'm probably going to go ahead and feed these when I'm watering them in today with a liquid fertilizer. And what I'm doing is I just see some big chunks because my soil is kind of moist. I want to throw these sticks out. So what I'm doing while I'm filling this in is I'm kind of just crumbling up these chunks as I see it. Intuitively, it just seems like the plant would have a better time without a bunch of chunkiness around it. So I'm going to go ahead, and again, these sticks here, you want to take any wood or sticks out that you see because they will start to break down in the soil as well, which will take nitrogen away from your plant. So the mission of this project, Growing and Eating Plants in Yoga Pants, is for me to teach you everything I know, and I don't know everything, but everything that I do know, and how to grow your own food. And then some of you that I've run into have told me that you don't know how to cook the food. And so my other goal is to teach you how to cook the food that you grow. And I am very, very simple in my cooking. All right, so there's our first baby. I'm just gonna kind of tap it in a little bit. As this grows, it may need to be connected to the fence. I'm actually sure of it once it grows. I am going to put my tag back in, Tomato Sun Gold. I've just reused one of the ones I had from another plant. And then I'm going to show you where we're going to plant the rest of them. So the rest of them need to be planted 24 inches apart. So for those of you that need that description, that is 2 feet. And that's 2 feet from the stem of the plant. Remember that this is the stem. These are the leaves. So if I'm going to go 24 inches from the stem, my next plant would be here. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it on the other side. Remember, I'm doing both sides. So here. And then I just have to move, and look at that, it goes right towards that white pole. Perfect. And a little trick that you might want to see with your feet is that an adult foot is about, remember everything's an estimate, about a foot. So if I stepped 1, 2, and put the plant right there, it's about 2 feet, which is 24 inches because kids in the audience, how many inches are in a foot? If you said 12, you are correct. And so if I have 2 feet, that means 12 plus 12. How many inches is that? And if you said 24, you are correct. So once you get your measurement in your head and with your feet, you probably don't even need this tape measure anymore. So I want to also say, after you get all of these planted into the ground, you're going to want to water them in, okay? And that just means water around, soak the soil. Like I said earlier, I'm probably going to feed a nitrogen-based liquid fertilizer up front just to get these guys started. Once you see flowers, you want to lay off the nitrogen, okay? That's when you want to switch over to phosphorus because you don't want a big bushy tomato plant without any fruit. So ease up on the nitrogen as soon as you see the flowers, knowing that each flower will be a tomato. So you're watching Growing and Eating Plants in Yoga Pants at my yoga barn with Rebecca Birdwell. Thanks for stopping by. Subscribe to my YouTube channel to get more videos. And also, if you want to follow my yoga barn on Facebook and Instagram, I post pictures also there of what's going on in the garden and what we're eating and all things yoga. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.